Hello, everyone. Today I want to share this book and an exercise from this book called Making Comics by Lynda Barry. This is a wonderful book about drawing, the philosophy of drawing, and largely dedicated to how to reconnect with sort of the childlike fun of drawing and a kind of a mode of drawing that can grow distant as you progress into more complex subject matter of drawing or techniques. And I found that I've really enjoyed this book tremendously in regards to what it is to have fun in that childlike manner of drawing. And for the specific exercise I'm going to touch on, it's all about drawing a very simple self-portrait. That's what we're going to get started on today. For drawing tools, I'm just using basic 8.5 by 11 printer paper and a pen. I think you could use any drawing implement that's handy, and any paper will do. Please, I think it'd be great if you were to draw along with these exercises. I think they're pretty fun. So to start with, Lynda points out that most of us are pretty familiar with the stick figure. And stick figure is great. It's quickly identifiable as a person standing there. But beyond that, it gets really hard to provide additional information about who that person is or what they're doing or kind of their time and place, and really give the stick figure some character. So Lynda demonstrates a way to sort of, what's the step up? What's a way to kind of move the step beyond the stick figure. So that's what we're going to do today. To get started with that, I'm going to draw just a circle shape for my head, and it's going to be a self-portrait, so maybe take a look at what you're wearing today, where you're at, and as we proceed, maybe consider your current mood and emotions, anything at all that you might want to express in this portrait. I'm doing a circle shape. Heads could definitely be squares, triangles, maybe ovals. We are all right. I am trying to stick with very simple, not complicated shapes, things that we might feel most confident in drawing. So we have a head. Next, I'm going to draw a body, and for the body, I'm sort of doing a bit of a rectangle triangle shape here. Dimension wise, the body is about the same as the head. I'm thinking like comic strips like Charlie Brown, where you have these large heads, and I'm not sure, but I think it's the face is so great at conveying information that giving yourself a large space to work with can work really well. For arms and legs, you can just do kind of I don't know what to call them, like wet noodle lines. Lines with some curve. They could be straight lines. Maybe your arms are hanging down. I'm going to do some lines like this and some legs like this. With these lines, we're kind of getting back to the stick figure. So, how can we add a bit more dimension? So I'm going to do some parallel lines just to give it a bit more shape and a sense of depth. Let's see. For hands, just do little circles with little hot dogs on the end, I guess you could call them, little U shapes. As I'm describing this, I'm often trying to think of how can I relate to these shapes. Like if I think of hands, that can become kind of intimidating. But if I think of little hot dogs or little U shapes, that seems like something I can draw. So trying to relate stuff back to shapes that you're comfortable drawing, and I'm gonna have a few more points I can touch on about that as we move forward. For feet, I'm gonna do like maybe kind of little flattened triangles. They kind of look like clothes hangers, I guess, a little bit. Um, uh, Feet could definitely be really sharp triangles, even squares, um, kind of little peanut shapes. So lots you can do um, with the feet. Let's see. Now to get to the face, I'm going to start with the nose. Noses are pretty awesome in that it doesn't take a whole lot to convey a nose. So maybe that's kind of an L shape there, or maybe even just two small dots. Um, Maybe a U shape, or even kind of like a rectangle square shape. Maybe you broke your nose at one time and you have sort of a squiggly nose. It doesn't, any almost any kind of line can get you a nose. I kind of like this upside down or a W shape that I think works pretty well. Um, the next, I'm going to do the eyes. For eyes, I'm just going to do two dots. Um, there's a lot you can do with the eyes, and for example, if you have your two dots and you just put a little arc over the top, kind of helps frame them in. You could also do the same with almond shapes, and this is kind of fun because the almond shape kind of frames the eyes, and it gives you the opportunity to move the eyes around in the frames, and then give a sense of they're looking left or right. But I'll leave these as dots for now. I do have glasses, so I'm just going to give myself a simple pair of glasses. The next aspect of this with the eyes is eyebrows, and eyebrows are just incredibly powerful as a way to communicate emotion and expression. And just as an example, you have two dots, and if I go like this, holy smokes, you don't want to mess with that person. Or maybe, you have two dots and maybe somebody just saw a ghost with raised eyebrows, and those are incredibly simple shapes that are conveying a whole lot of expression. So I just think that's pretty fun. I'm just going to do something like that for today. And then a mouth. For my mouth, and again, I mentioned emotions and where you're at as this is a self-portrait. I'm having a pretty good day, and it's almost the weekend, so I'm feeling good. But maybe on another day I'm feeling tired or sad or overwhelmed, or a whole range of emotions that can be conveyed with a smile or a frown. But I'm feeling all right today, so give myself a smile. Let's see. So now we have a face, and with a mouth, I could have done kind of a peanut, smile. I used a line. There's different ways, simple ways you can play with the mouth. For the ears, and I'd mentioned reflecting on shapes you're familiar with. I find a C works great for ears, and then if I flip over that C, I have my other ear, and the alphabet is actually a great reference point for shapes we're all very familiar with drawing on paper. So thinking of things as like, is that an L shape or a C shape or a D, a W? They're all just sort of ways to have a sense, increase our confidence with what it is we're drawing. And now we have our hair, and I mean the hair can really be pretty, go all over the place. It could be a very curly squiggles. It could even be, maybe you have a hat on. Maybe it's like a rectangle with some type of hat there. But I guess the hair is a place you can have fun with. I would, since I've already started this shape, I'm going to just kind of stay within the confines of this circle shape. I have been avoiding a haircut lately, so I'll add a bit more there. And at this point, you can start to add more details. So for instance, with this body shape, so say we had a body here, maybe you add some little patterns here. There's also all sorts of ways you can play with that. I have one of my favorite button-up shirts on, so I'm gonna place myself in that. I have these pockets here, and my sleeves are rolled up. Anyways, super simple self-portrait. Doesn't take long to do, and is a really fun way to kind of reflect on where you're at, and just provide a bit more information than the stick figure can. Along with that, just to kind of play with that even more, if you take everything we just learned here and just start to have fun with it. So imagine maybe I'm an astronaut. So I'm going to do everything I just played with, and I'm just going to use the same shapes, and kind of there you have that. We have our sea ears. We have a body, but maybe I'm floating in space. And so maybe I have a helmet on. Maybe there's some kind of communication antenna for my helmet. I have an emblem on my spacesuit that sort of has its kind of that puffy kind of spacesuit, and I'm floating, so my squiggly legs are kind of, how would they look like if they were floating in space? And then maybe I have on one of those spacewalk backpack things, some gloves. Here, and handles. Maybe there's some like space pack exhaust coming from there. And it can be fun to place your portrait in a setting. So maybe there's the moon in the background. Maybe there's stars. Maybe there's a satellite. And very quickly we've made use of this level of detail and kind of applied a little bit more story. If you want to take that a step farther, adding a talk bubble it's amazing how much story you can interject with the addition of a talk bubble. So let's see, what's something I needed to get done today? Oh, we're gonna go to IKEA. So I'm just gonna say I have to get to IKEA, and then put that in a talk bubble. And suddenly we have a fun little story going on. Anyways, with pretty simple basic shapes and drawing tools. I did want to note, just to take this a step farther, that even though we're seeing or we're making use of a basic shape, like say a circle for a head, it's not too hard to add some dimensionality and movement to this figure or this face. So for instance, if we put a center line here and we put our nose here and eyes here, Um, here's, but say we do another one and we put the center line over here, and so that means the face is facing this way. Then we can start to just envision like how would those move um, to the side. Um, so now, pretty quickly, we have our figure turning to the right. And again, you could take this, do the opposite, the center line over here. Now our figure's turning to the left. And you can also do this. Let's say, what if we had this and we put our center line here? Now we have our character looking down. So adding greater sense of dimensionality, or our sense of how to move along these surfaces, and just kind of being aware that this circle is really meant to represent something that has a 3D quality versus just a flat aspect, can be a helpful way to start to play more with how to elaborate on this. So anyways, that's all I have for today. Again, this was making use of an exercise from Making Comics by Lynda Barry, and highly recommend this. And that's all for now.